Okay, so what a weekend. They shot this man. Bro, they shot Donald Trump in the freaking ear. They were aiming for his head, and he turned at the perfect moment, and it hit his freaking ear. Dog, it don't matter if you like Donald Trump or don't like Donald Trump. That's not what this is about. It's the simple fact that we were this close from this country breaking out in the biggest war in like multiple decades. Because that's what would have happened. This dude got shot, bro. It still hasn't registered in my head that in 2024, we are not only on the cusp of another world war, but we were this close to a president or presidential candidate being assassinated, dog. Like, what? And I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it, but if not, here it is.
Take a look at what happened.
Now, what's crazy is homeboy got shot, then got up and started throwing the fist up to everybody, screaming like, I think he was screaming like fight or something like that. Then somebody took a picture of him, and I ain't gonna fake it, that mug is kind of hard. But to do that after getting shot is crazy. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, well, I know that I tend to stand alone, especially like when it comes to like my circle of people, especially the ones who share my skin color when it comes to how I view a lot of this stuff. But even then, I'm thinking like, homeboy just got shot and he's like standing there, like still kind of like paying attention to the crowd. It's kind of hard to think that that's not like set up. But then obviously something came out about someone else dying, which was horrible. And then I'm like, yeah, no, that's messed up. Then I saw that he was actually bleeding from it. Then I saw a video of the dude on the roof with the gun. And I'm like, yeah, they really just tried to kill this man. Now, knowing what country we live in, I mean, even this don't stop people from just being so disgusting and so politically biased that it hijacks your ability to be a decent person. The first headline that I saw from CNN was, Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. Not that you heard a bunch of pops. Bro clearly held his ear because he got shot, and then he gets up and you see blood all over his face and the right side of his head. Nah, homeboy fell. Like, that's what they're running with, and I guess it doesn't take an assassination attempt to get people to just say what happened and just call it how it is. Just call a spade, but that obviously didn't happen. But once it was confirmed that it was an assassination attempt, I saw this like little mashup of a bunch of people who were pissed that this dude missed the kill shot on Donald Trump. You know how much you have to hate a person to want them to be dead? And then, like, when an attempt is made on their life, you're pissed that the guy missed. Like, the hatred that you have to bear is insane, especially for somebody who you don't know personally. I understand that politics affects people's lives, and that is very, very valid. But the amount of emphasis that people put on the president and the impact that they have on their lives is so extreme that they're pissed that homeboy missed Donald Trump's brain. And he's still alive, you know? He's still kicking. And, I mean, I don't know how this is not the craziest run to the presidency that has ever been. I mean, I'm going to go down that list, but I just want you to just take a look at this real quick. These are a bunch of people who are mad that this man did not get his head blown off at his own rally.
If you can hear us, if you are with us, please, John Wilkes Booth, if you're listening, please.
Let me get this straight. Dumbass! You have a fully reloaded shotgun, but you chose to use a one bullet.
We're not even sending our best to fucking assassinate. Cause what the hell was that? Lee Harvey Oswald would never, bitch. John Wilkes Booth would never.
Today was like this close to being the best day ever.
Also, the person that at Trump at his rally was exercising that right that all those Republicans were fighting for. So, can you really blame him?
I didn't know people were campaigning for the right to assassinate people that they didn't agree with. I guess I missed that in passing. But for everybody else, Donald Trump getting popped would be the best day of their life. You know how miserable of a life you have to have for that to be the highlight of your existence. And this is part of the reason why I kind of like shifted my thought process when I was coming up, right? Is in no way, shape, or form was I that extreme. But when I first started getting into all this stuff, I was like, man, this dude is like so messed up. And in no way, shape, or form are politicians, period, like the standard for morality. But when I look at the people who hate this man, I'm like, dog, they take it to a whole nother level. Like, you think he's bad, bro, he can't compete with some of these people, straight up. It's just important that if you find yourself at that point, you really need to rethink your entire life, right? Rethink how you got to that point and figure out what is necessary to turn stuff around. Because if the highlight of your life is seeing that man or any other politician get their head blown off live at their rally, and it's being like filmed, dog. Like, we see this stuff all the time, and I feel like I'm becoming desensitized to it, of just violence and people murking each other. If that's the highlight of your life, please do some like self-reflection and some soul searching and fix it, dog. Because at the end of the day, you just simply disagree with his policy, and that's going to be the case, period, right? There's a man in office right now, and a bunch of people disagree with what he has to say, the policies he's implementing, whatever it is. People don't like it, but that's just the nature of what we got going on. You just got to deal with it for 4 to 8 years. And honestly, if you don't put all of your eggs into the basket of politicians and you primarily try to look out for yourself, a lot of this stuff won't affect you that much. Not saying that it bears no weight at all, but people neglect their like state politics as if that doesn't have more of a significance on your day-to-day life than what the president does all the way in Washington, D.C., right? In my opinion, at least from where I'm sitting, it looks like it's night and day. But even despite that, just being able to take care of your business, staying in your lane, that does wonders for your life. And that exists outside of politicians. That has very little to do with them. And that's something that almost everybody can take within their control. Is, hey, what can I do in my own life to make it better? That ain't got nothing to do with who's ever in office. I mean, I think that's a good place to start. So trust, I don't put these politicians on a pedestal at all. But I did shift how I like viewed certain ones, especially him, like a few years ago. And a part of it is because of stuff like this. I've never seen a politician or studied a politician who was this polarizing in my entire life, at least for this country. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, dog, it's something to it. Because this is ridiculous, dog. You wishing death upon him. I mean, like, what are we doing, dog? What are we doing? But I just want to lay the scene for you. This is why stuff like this just feels so fishy to me, right? It feels so fishy to me. Donald Trump in 2016, everybody thought he was a joke. Nobody took him seriously. You know, he's a celebrity. He came from WWE. He had a TV show, right? That's what he was known for. Him running for president is a joke. He then beats Hillary Clinton. He not only wins the nomination in a pool full of other Republicans that had some good name recognition, right? You got Ted Cruz, Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, and then the list goes on. And Donald Trump beat them all. Then he's going toe-to-toe with Hillary Clinton. Dog, this is like the Clintons, dog. Like, I mean, if they're not going to win, like, at the ballot, man, they got some other plans, you know, in the bag. He beat the Clintons, dog, and became the president of the United States. which is still crazy to me. I still sit here 8 years later and I'm like, bro, this dude Donald Trump at one point in time was the president. And it wasn't just like, I'm going to just do this for a few years and then go away. He like ran again. And then when he lost, he declared that he was going to run again like a few months later. So he's in this, dog. He's like not going anywhere until he's finished his 2 terms. He going to keep coming back until he's done, right? But he wins, and then day one, I'm seeing people in the streets on their knees crying about it.
J. Trump is now president of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment, steps away for the inaugural
great honor
address.
to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald.
Tap on the shoulder. You adjust the microphone as you told, man.
And then day 2, all of a sudden, Donald Trump is now illegally colluded with Russia to become the president of the United States, right? So all of this trying to say that it's just him trying to call other presidents illegitimate or trying to cast doubt on certain elections or whatnot, dog, that swings both ways, which is why, like I said, this politics game is so grimy, right? It is so grimy because these people lie to you left, right, and center, and they do it for sport. They do it all the time. That's one of them. Is, bro, that swings both ways, right? When that was found to be BS, they then impeached him, dog. They impeached this man. And while everybody's throwing a party, I'm just sitting there and being like, man, like, do people know what this means, right? Like, he's not out of office, right? That's just a fancy term for he's on trial because they either think he's done something wrong or they made something up in hopes that most people wouldn't recognize it and then they can just get him out, right? I was like on Snapchat looking at the filters when this happened. They made a whole filter, dog. Donald Trump's been impeached. The whole country's throwing a party. I'm like, dog, in 1 week when this is over with, you realize he's still going to be the president. Like, that don't mean he's kicked out. He just got impeached. They still have to go through the proceedings to see if he's guilty of whatever they're accusing him of. He gets impeached and then bam, it's done. They go through the proceedings and he's good, right? He's still the president of the United States. Then we get to COVID and then that happens. They're going at him about how he handled that. Then the election comes and they weaponize COVID to gain legs in the election. It's either, vote by mail because if you step outside, you're going to die. Or it's, no, go outside and go to the polls because what we're dealing with is, it's not that bad. It was going both ways. And it's like, bro, here we go again. We're at the next election and it's just as crazy, if not crazier. For a second, Trump is in the lead and then all the mail-in votes come in and boom, Biden he takes it, right? And Donald Trump is no longer the president. And that thing lasted like 3 days. I remember it like it was yesterday. That mug was like, I would go to sleep, the news would be on, wake up, and they're still counting votes. So that was the culmination of that election. And then after it, bro, low-key kind of crashed out, started suing each state, right? Just going after everybody, trying to get these votes recounted, and it doesn't work. January 6th, I remember where I was. I was in the capital of my state. and I'm hearing stuff on a loudspeaker. I'm watching it on the news, and there's people freaking going at that building, jumping over them walls, just going crazy, right? Now, side note, it's annoying because they're trying to make it be like the new 9/11 now. If I do recall, like that past summer, a bunch of people basically burned down the whole country, and we can get over why. Trust and believe I got all day, and I can go into that whenever. But the reality is that the United States of America went up in flames, and we just kind of glossed over that, like, stuff was just happening. But January 6th, bro, it's the new 9/11. Every single January 6th since then, everybody gets down on one knee. The whole aura of the country just goes down. It gets somber, and, I'm pretty sure a couple years they're going to start having that day off for work, school, or if, you're still there, they're going to show videos of it. 30 years from now, it's going to be history lessons on it. It's like, obviously, they're just milking it because, for certain politicians, that works in their favor. It wasn't all that, dog. It was bad, but we're charting into some crazy territory when you try to bring it up to that standard. But that happens, And they impeach him for that. Like, homeboy's not even about to be the president anymore in about 2 weeks from that day, like officially. And they impeach him for that. They believe that he incited that insurrection, and that if he were to get got on this one, then he can't run for president anymore. He's done. They go through with it, and bam, it fails, right? It don't work out. Then right in the midst of that, Donald Trump gets banned on Twitter, dog. And I was sitting there the other day, I'm like, holy crap, Trump got banned on Twitter. I'm like, this man got banned on Twitter, bro. And please spare me the whole Twitter's a private company. They can do whatever they want. No. Social media, especially Twitter, is essentially like the public's town square now. They've adopted social discourse in this country, really around the world, but we're just talking about this country. You can no longer hide behind the word private company so we can do whatever we want, because that stuff has real life ramifications for what goes on, especially in politics, right? Maybe that wasn't the intended plan of Twitter or any other social media platform, but at the same time, that's kind of what it morphed into. A lot of people don't freaking go outside anymore. There's a bunch of people who probably talk to people on Twitter and on a game. They get their entertainment from movies on their streaming services. They get food and clothes delivered to them, and they work from home. I guarantee you there's somebody out there who's like that. And for everybody else, very few read newspapers, and a lot of what we do takes place online. And it ain't just like no random game chat on Club Penguin where you log off and forget about what happened. No, this stuff is here, dog. So it's a cop-out to be like, we're just a private company, because clearly that company, the heads of it, they have a bias. Now, they're not going to outwardly say it, but if you just look at who they ban or accounts they suspend, you can see it trends in one way. And I don't even got to say the way it does. You already know. But if there's certain rules, like you can't talk about people in a certain way when it comes to their identification, right? Or there's certain words you can't say. Obviously, we know who are the main ones saying it, right? So they banned him. They banned a sitting president from Twitter, dog. So he goes underground. I didn't see anything from him for about maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months, somewhere in that range. And then he comes out again, and the first rally or press conference I saw was like an immediate declaration of, I'm running again in 3 years. But in that time from when he lost in January officially to like I said, about 3 to 6 months later, where then he came out, with his first appearance, I hadn't heard anything about Donald Trump. Nobody was trying to sue him. Nobody was trying to put him in cuffs and throw him in jail. Nobody was trying to kill him. I didn't hear anything about it. Then as soon as he came out and said that he was going to run for president again, that's when everything started hitting the fan. Bro's getting sued left and right. He's getting hit with these civil cases. He's getting hit with these criminal cases. He's getting his house raided. He's getting taken off of ballots in certain states. It's like, bro, this is getting crazy, bro. And we're not even there yet. And he gets convicted on something that supposedly happened almost 10 years ago, if not more than that. Then they pulled this stunt at the debate where they're turning your microphone off, which I get it, but the whole format of the debate is stupid. It's like you have 30 seconds to a couple of minutes to talk about the most pressing issues on the planet, or at least for the United States of America, and then that's it. Then you got to move on. That's stupid, right? But they're pulling a CM Punk, and he's saying some crazy stuff, or I guess they're interrupting each other, and then they turn the microphone off. It's like, what are we doing, bro? Right? Then he has a rally, and he gets shot at. This man got shot in the freaking head, bro. It was this close, and his freaking head would have been blown off, dog. And I was seeing angles, people were recreating the scenario and creating diagrams and stuff like that. This man's head was right here, right? Bullet is aimed right here. Oh my goodness. The bullet is aimed right here, dog. He turns his head and boom, right? Shot, boom, right there. If his head would have stayed right here, Donald Trump would be dead right now, right? He would be dead he would have gotten shot in the head. And the reason I'm saying it so like aggressively is because it still hasn't hit me yet. The fact that we live in a time in which people are still trying to assassinate people that they don't agree with. It's the craziest thing ever, right? It would have sucked for people who wanted to vote for him, because then it's like, okay, you tried taking him off the ballot. That didn't work, right? So now you kill him. And it's like, okay, now I really can't vote for the person who I want to vote for. And then it would have been bad for the people who don't like him, because then it would have just looked like an inside job, regardless of the shooter's political affiliation. It would have looked like an inside job to kill this man, because every step of the way, somehow, some way, he's still at a rally a couple months away from possibly winning. We know how this country works. It flip-flops. And Joe Biden, dog, it sucks, but he's a vegetable, dog. He's not there. This man is probably going to wipe the floor with him low-key. So you gotta take him out, bro. You have to take him out, and that would have been bad, because then the country would have went to war, dog. It would have went to freaking war, bro. And it's not even November yet. All of this has happened, and it's still the summer, dog. It's not even November. But this is why, and oh my goodness, bro, I tell everybody. This is why I changed how I was thinking when I was coming up, right? Not necessarily to be a rebel, right? I understand that the consensus amongst black people is we vote Democrat, right? I don't like that, because they don't have to do anything to earn the vote. All they got to do is eat fried chicken with a black family and stage it, right? All they got to do is tell us they keep hot sauce in the bag. Like, that's the type of stuff that they be doing, right? And I'm not saying Republicans don't pander to black people either, because they do, but it is egregious when it comes to Democrats, because it has been inadvertently told to them that they don't have to do anything else. They just have to make it look like they care about the interests of the black community, right? Then they can come off playful, right? If Donald Trump says that he carries hot sauce in his bag, they're going to crucify him on the news that night. But Hillary Clinton says it, and it's funny, it's playful, right? Joe Biden tells a black man that he's not black if he don't vote for him, and he just glosses over that, right? If Trump did that, we all know how it would have went, right? Biden can eat chicken with a black family and talk about basketball. If Trump does it, bro, we know how that goes, right? And this ain't no defense of him. This is just me stating how it is. That's my problem, right? Is I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, I don't care if you don't like the guy, right? And even if you vote for him, you shouldn't agree with everything that he says or every policy he puts forth. That would be crazy. But it is evident, dog, that no one, at least in these modern times, maybe over the last 30 years or so, has had a more egregious road to get to the presidency than Donald Trump, right? Every tool that is at the disposal of the United States government has been used and weaponized to stop this man from getting there, dog. Obviously, social media is the main way, and it's a fantastic tool when used properly, right? Like, I don't think we've ever had such close contact with the president, right? There's a couple of exceptions, but like, for everybody to like see what the president is saying, whether it's from him or his team, in real time, and you don't have to wait for it to come on the news that night, or you don't have to wait for a newspaper to get thrown at your freaking house, dog, that's a big deal. And they took him off. They took him off, right? He's being sued and he's being hit with these criminal cases. If he's committed a crime, yeah, charge him. And if you can find the evidence, convict him. I'm not condoning committing crimes. My problem is that he's the first president in the history of this country, if I'm not mistaken, to be charged and convicted with a felony. This country is almost 300 years old. I really, really want you to stick with me here, because this doesn't make any sense. This country is almost 300 years old. You cannot tell me with a straight face that not a single politician and or president before Donald Trump has not committed a crime, and that the government that they are encapsulated in has just looked the other way because they've been willing to play by the correct rules, so to speak. You cannot tell me that that's not true. Like, I mean, that's nuts. That doesn't make any sense, right? All of a sudden now we care about justice. We all of a sudden now care about accountability when it comes to these politicians. That's crazy, right? That's not the situation at all. It's no, we've tried to fire about 1,000 bullets, 1,000 different metaphorical bullets, and none of them have worked, right? That might have slowed him down. That might have gotten him off track a little bit, but he's still here, and he's still saying that he's going to run. So, okay, let's try to put him in jail, dog. First, we try to discredit him. We're going to put him in jail now. 34 counts. Now, once again, like I said, if he was doing something, then yeah, you know, for anybody, if you're committing crimes, then you should be dealt with. But don't sit up here and try to tell me that this is what this is about. Because if it was about justice, right, then we would have seen a pattern of presidents and other politicians getting got every single day of the week and twice on Sunday, right? Everybody on both sides, for the third parties, for the Constitution Party, for the Green Party, any party you can think of, it's a bunch of crooks in that mug who are sitting on a bunch of crimes, right, that they've committed, whether they didn't took people out, whether they didn't committed fraud, whether they didn't got some inside information so they can make some extra money. It doesn't matter what it is. Probably almost all of them done something, right? So the fact now that we want to prosecute, right, is ridiculous. Because once Donald Trump goes away and everybody kind of falls back in line and they start playing by the rules, we're not going to see another politician and or president get accused, tried and convicted of a crime for another 60 years. So you can miss me with that whole, he committed a crime, so he should, be dealt with. True. I'd be more on board with that sentiment if that's how we've rolled for the entirety of this country. Because it's not, I call BS on that. And now we're here. We are a few days removed from this man being shot in his freaking ear. A bullet that was meant for his head, dog. And oh my goodness. It stresses me out thinking about what would have happened if that man got popped, dog. Like, oh my goodness, I really don't. It's like I said, it still hasn't hit me yet. It was this close, dog. This close. That's really freaking bad, dog. It's really bad. And then for Biden to come out and talk about how we got to kind of cool down the climate, bro, everybody's ramping it up, right? They're all going at each other. He was talking stuff about him on Twitter 2 hours before he got shot in the head. Trump does it too, so I'm not exonerating him. But man, like you can't play that game, man, because you're contributing to it, right? They all are, right? They're all ramping up the heat, right? And if you can be civil enough to just keep it at that level, just talking stuff on Twitter, then that's cool. But then it translates to a bunch of crazy, deranged 20-year-olds. Dog, they're making 20-year-olds look bad, bro. Like, I'm not trying to grow up. I'm not trying to rush growing up. But, man, like, this is pissing me off because every single time I see a freaking shooting, it's some 20-year-old or 21 or 22 or 23 or whatever. I'm like, bro. Like, trust to believe it's not all of us, bro. Like, it's got to be some civil, level-headed people who just look at a politician and say, I don't like you. Or they're just having a bad day and they just go home and deal with it. They don't then go and shoot up a freaking grocery store or a school or whatever, right? But somehow this 20-year-old gets on a roof unchecked, even though people were saying, hey, police, look, there's a strange dude up there, right? Why is he on a roof, right? It's the only building in sight. That guy's up there. Go look at him. Nah, we're just going to let him sit up there while the president is in the former president, current candidate, is in a direct line of sight of this dude to shoot him in his mother head, dog. My gosh. Oh my gosh. Bro, this close, bro. The government, the justice system, right? The political parties that we have, they're all grimy, dog. They're grimy, right? They care about power and money over the interest of the country that they live in. And it's evident, bro. It's so evident. And then a bunch of these other people, bro, they just feed into that, right? They feed into it. Like, this man literally got shot because people don't like him, right? And that's not new, right? But at the same time, it's like, you think that we might have outgrown it? You know how like, bad of a skill you have to have socially to, like, disagree with someone and then your reaction is, well, I want to shoot this person and I want to kill him. That's crazy, bro. Now, imagine you shoot, you miss, and then you get popped right then. It is like, bro, then that was just a waste, man. You couldn't even hit, bro, and he was standing still. So, thank God he missed, right? Because if you don't like Donald Trump, then either don't vote or vote for somebody else. That's how this works, right? People didn't like Donald Trump in 2020, and they voted for somebody else. And that somebody else is now the president of the United States. That's how it works. But you try to cheat the system by popping this, man. It's like, bro, what are we doing, bro? And the flurry of people who are like pissed that he missed trying to summon Lee Harvey Oswald and John Wilkes Booth, bro. Like, what the? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, bro. It's so crazy. And I know that him getting shot ain't gonna like make a bunch of people that didn't like him. That's not the objective, and it shouldn't be, right? If you didn't like him beforehand, him getting shot, that shouldn't make you like him now. But hopefully it can just put into perspective, right, the importance of people not just losing their minds over politicians, right? I'm telling you, dog, I'm telling you. Yes, it's important who's in there, but it's not as important as you think, man. The mayor of your city, aldermans, freaking governors. I mean, like, all of those people matter a hell of a lot more to your day-to-day life and what you got going on in your state or your city or your county, right? In your school district. All of those people matter way more than the president of the United States, because that dude or that woman one day maybe is sitting in that office fighting tooth and nail with Congress every single day of the week for 4 to 8 years. And even if they have control of the House and the Senate, for a lot of the stuff that needs to get passed or that they want to get passed, you still need 2/3 of the vote, which means you still need support from the opposing party, right? Which doesn't happen a lot. It doesn't, right? Which is why you don't see politicians who run for president pick a Democrat to be their VP if they're running as a Republican or vice versa, right? You never, ever see it. I know Tulsi Gabbard was a person that people wanted to see Trump pick, but he went with J.D. Vance. Like, he's a Republican, dog. But you got to be able to just look at what's going on and just make it make sense. It's like, bro, yes, it's important, but it ain't that important to the point where I should go kill this man. I ain't never heard of a freaking mayor getting assassinated, bro. Never. Ever, ever, ever. Right? I guarantee you, this dude doesn't like Donald Trump. Bro, I'm not saying go shoot anybody, but like, it's like, dude, have you looked at the mayor of where you live or the governor of the place you reside in? Right? You're 20, so, I mean, you were in high school a couple years ago. Did you ever question the school board, dog? I know that sounds boring. The president is the big boss, the kingpin, so to speak. So we got to look at him. But I mean, come on now. Like, what are we talking about, bro? Right? And it's messed up. But now look, right? He's dead. Trump is still alive. People didn't replace his head on a freaking 50 Cent poster. I mean, how much worse could it have gotten? His stock then went up 1,000,000,000%, and he's got a picture that'll probably be the front cover of a history book in like 5 years. Blood on his face, holding a fist up, and then an American flag flying in the background. I mean, dog, that's like the worst hit marker in the history of the world, because the events that followed is like, bro, that is like the worst nightmare for somebody who doesn't like him so much that they want to kill him. And instead you got popped, and now this flurry of just good stuff is happening, right, for this dude. Your goal was to end this man's life, and instead it's had an upward trajectory. I mean, I don't know how we ended up back at this point. I thought that we were past it, but I guess not. But for the love of God, please, 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 just like focus on your life, dog. What you got going on within yourself, because you'll learn that even if the guy or the woman who you vote for gets into office, bro, it does not matter that much. Some stuff does. Yes, trust and believe it does. I'm not saying just brush it off as if it has no significance whatsoever. But it's not as big a deal as people make it out to be, right? We are brainwashed into thinking that this stuff matters more than it should. And then, like I said, for people, their lives become so miserable that the best day of their lives is if a presidential candidate who they don't like gets shot dead. If that's the best day of your life, that's one of the most miserable lives you could ever have. It's a good thing that that man didn't get popped, because it would not have been good for either side. Don't let it get to the point where you get pushed over the edge so much that you didn't decide to go do something as crazy as that. You try to go shoot a president or a presidential candidate of whom you don't like, right? Because it can get as bad as you miss and then you get popped and then everything just goes good for them. That's like the most backfired plan ever. But don't even let it get to that point, because it's not worth it, dog. It's just not. It's not that serious, bro. Just do you, man. Just do you. Please, please, please. Just do you, dog. Because I'm not trying to go to war. I'm not trying to see a war. I don't want war, dog. I don't, man. I'm young, bro. I'm young and I'm trying to experience life. It's so hard to do it when you got to worry about people shooting all the time and rockets and missiles and crap flying around, dog. Dude, just live your life, bro. Straight up, right? Thank God it didn't happen, because a lot of bad stuff would have happened, right? A lot of bad stuff would have unfolded as a result of that man getting popped. But if you don't like him, then don't vote for him. Vote for somebody else, or don't vote at all. And if you like him, vote for him and then go on about your day, dog. Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. Please don't complicate it any more than it has to be. Something to think about.